Security Officer Grassuk hated his job. No, that wasn't quite right. Security Officer Grassuk absolutely, completely, and with every fiber of his being loathed his job. 15 cycles spent guarding the most secure military prison in the Var Dominion. And what did he have to show for it? Sore feet, 3 failed relationships, and a drinking habit that would make his ancestors weep in shame. Hey, Grass. Wake up. New specimen arriving in 10 minutes, barked Lieutenant PRA from down the corridor. Grassuk's facial tentacles coiled in annoyance. Specimen. Don't tell me they're bringing another one of those weird quadrupeds from Sector 7. PRA let out a wheezing laugh that sounded like a deflating balloon. Nah, much better. Command captured one of those creatures from that backwater planet. You know, the ones with 2 arms, 2 legs, soft skin. Not very bright. They call themselves humans, I think. Grassuk's interest perked up slightly. Humans. He'd heard the stories. Creatures from a heavy gravity world, supposedly explaining their dense musculature despite their fragile appearance. But mostly, they were considered harmless. A curiosity at best. Why bring one here? This facility is for the most dangerous prisoners in the Dominion, Grassuk grumbled as he adjusted his uniform and checked his stun baton. PRA shrugged, his armored shoulder plates clicking together. Orders from the Supreme Commander himself. This one apparently stole some classified tech and evaded capture for almost 3 standard months. They're calling him the Ghost. The Ghost? Really? You military types and your dramatic names, Grassuk rolled all 4 eyes simultaneously, a gesture of supreme exasperation in Var culture. Next you'll tell me he can walk through walls. Mock all you want, PRA snorted, but they've assigned him to maximum security. Cell 42. Triple restraints. Constant surveillance. The works. Now, that was interesting. Cell 42 was reserved for the truly dangerous. The kind of prisoners that even made seasoned guards like Grassuk nervous. What's this human's name? Grassuk asked, trying to sound casual. Prisoner designation H7-729, PRA replied, checking his datapad. But the report says his name is Jack Turner. Grassuk practiced the strange name in his mind. Jack Turner. Odd, clipped sounds. These humans used names with no poetry at all. The transport ship docked with mechanical precision. Grassuk and 5 other guards assembled in the receiving bay, weapons ready. Standard procedure, even though Grassuk thought it was overkill for a single human. The airlock hissed open. 4 elite Dominion soldiers marched out, surrounding a figure in the center. The human was considerably shorter than any Var, barely 2/3 their height. He wore heavy restraints that seemed almost comically large on his small frame. Thick metal cuffs bound his wrists and ankles, connected by glowing energy tethers. A control collar locked around his neck. Despite it all, the human walked with an easy confidence that immediately put Grassuk on edge. His head turned, calmly scanning everything. When those unsettling blue eyes landed on Grassuk, the guard felt an involuntary shiver run down his spinal ridges. This is the dangerous criminal, quipped one of the younger guards. He looks like he'd snap in a strong breeze. As if hearing the comment, the human's mouth curved upward into a smile. Grassuk recognized it from xenobiology training. But there was something wrong with this one, it didn't reach his cold blue eyes. Prisoner transfer complete. He's your problem now, said the transport commander, handing Grassuk a datapad for the transfer confirmation. Any special handling instructions? Grassuk asked, feeling a growing unease. Don't remove the restraints. Don't get within arm's reach. And, the commander hesitated, don't listen to anything he says. Is he, that persuasive? Grassuk asked, genuinely curious. The commander looked at the human, then back to Grassuk. We started with 6 guards. I'm the only one left alive. With that cheerful thought, the transport team quickly departed, leaving Grassuk and his team alone with their new prisoner. "Move," ordered PRA, nudging the human with his stun baton. Jack Turner, if that was indeed his name, complied without complaint. His gait was smooth despite the ankle restraints, almost graceful. Grassuk found himself watching the human's hands. Strange appendages. 5 digits, opposable thumbs, no claws. How had such vulnerable-looking extremities caused so much trouble? Cell 42 lay deep within the prison. 3 security checkpoints, 2 decontamination chambers, and 1 final biometric scan later, they arrived at the reinforced door. "Home sweet home," the human said suddenly. His voice was surprisingly deep, resonant, even pleasant, for such a small creature. "Silence," snapped PRA. But Grassuk noticed the flicker of unease in his superior's posture. The human's flawless VAR speech was unsettling. Most species required translation devices. This one spoke as if born on their homeworld. The cell door slid open with a heavy thunk. Inside was the usual, a sleep platform, a waste reclamation unit, and nothing else. The walls were 3 feet of solid alloy, supposedly unbreakable. "In," ordered PRA. The human stepped inside, then turned to face them. Those blue eyes scanned each guard in turn, lingering just long enough to make every one of them uncomfortable. When his gaze landed on Grassuk, the human did something odd, he closed one eyelid briefly. A wink. "See you soon," he said pleasantly. The door slammed shut. "What a peculiar creature," muttered Nex as they walked away. "Hard to believe all the stories." "What stories?" asked Grassuk. "You haven't heard?" Nex glanced around. "They say on his home planet, he was some kind of specialized killer. An assassin, I think they call it." Grassuk scoffed. "Every prisoner has a dramatic backstory. Next, you'll tell me he single-handedly destroyed a battle cruiser." Nex's facial tentacles twitched nervously. "Actually. Oh, for the love of the 7 moons, not you too," Grassuk groaned, throwing up his upper limbs in exasperation. "He's just a human. A thief, maybe. But nothing more. Look at him. No natural weapons. No significant armor. Mediocre senses at best. Then why," PRA cut in, "is the Supreme Commander so interested in him?" Unfortunately, that was a very good question. 3 shifts later, Grassuk found himself assigned to monitor duty. Alone in the security hub, surrounded by view screens displaying every cell, his attention kept drifting back to cell 42. The human hadn't moved in hours. He sat cross-legged on the floor, not even using the sleep platform. His eyes were closed. Meditation, perhaps. Some sort of human rest state. A notification pinged on Grassuk's console. The human's vital signs were strange. Heart rate extremely low. Respiration barely detectable. If Grassuk didn't know better, he'd think the creature was dying. "Computer," he ordered, "analyze prisoner H7-729's current physical state." Analysis complete, the AI responded. Prisoner appears to be in a self-induced trance state. Similar patterns observed in certain predatory species, prior to hunting. Well. That wasn't ominous at all. Grassuk's communicator buzzed. "Officer Grassuk. Report to the command center." Immediately. When he arrived, the command center was chaos. Supreme Commander Vzik himself was on the main screen, his massive form dominating the display. "I don't care what protocols you have to break," Vzik growled, his voice like gravel. "I want that human interrogated. Now. Find out what he knows about Project Sunfall." Project Sunfall. Grassuk had never heard of it. But judging by the reactions of the senior officers, it was something very important. "Sir, with all due respect," Captain Marud stammered, "the prisoner has been uncooperative." Standard interrogation methods have proven ineffective. Then use non-standard methods, the commander snarled. The human has information that could compromise the entire Dominion. Break him. The screen went dark. Captain Murad turned sharply. Officer Grassuk. Prepare interrogation chamber 3. Full equipment. Bring the human. Grassuk saluted. Yes, sir. Retrieving the prisoner required 6 guards. Protocol demanded maximum security, even though the human hadn't caused any actual trouble yet. Grassuk led the team to cell 42, forcing confidence into his posture. The human was exactly as Grassuk had seen on the monitor, sitting cross-legged, eyes closed. The door slid open. Prisoner H7-729. Stand up. You are being moved, Grassuk announced. The blue eyes opened. The human uncurled from his position with a fluid grace that seemed impossible given the restraints. Where to, Officer Grassuk? He asked pleasantly. Grassuk froze. He hadn't introduced himself. How? The human smiled. You have a nameplate, he said casually, gesturing with his chin toward Grassuk's chest. Relax. Of course. The nameplate. Nothing sinister about that, right? Interrogation, Grassuk replied stiffly. Move. Ah, the human said, stepping forward. I was wondering when we'd get to that part. The walk to interrogation chamber 3 was tense. The human moved calmly, unbothered. Occasionally, he'd glance at things and comment. Interesting security design, he mused. Those force fields, Teresian technology, aren't they? Observations that were both accurate and unsettling. Inside the chamber was the usual setup. Stark lighting. A metal chair bolted to the floor. An array of tools lined neatly on a table. Captain Murad waited with a medical officer and a neural specialist. Secure him to the chair, Murad ordered. The guards moved quickly, locking the restraints into the chair's integrated systems. Only when the confirmation lights turned green did Grassuk allow himself to relax. Slightly. Leave us, Murad commanded. Except you, Grassuk. You stay. The other guards exited. Grassuk stood near the door, wishing desperately he were anywhere else. Prisoner H7-729, Murad began, circling the chair. Also known as Jack Turner. You are going to tell us everything you know about Project Sunfall. The human tilted his head. Am I? That sounds time-consuming. I have a busy schedule today. Murad's tentacles tightened, a clear sign of growing anger. You find this amusing, perhaps? Perhaps, the human replied, smiling. Shall we begin? Won't be long before we begin extracting the information directly from your nervous system, Mord growled. At that, the human spoke, his tone still disturbingly casual. You know. I'm curious. Did you actually read my complete file, or just the highlights? Mord paused, frowning. What are you talking about? My file. My actual file. Not the sanitized version your superiors passed down, the human sighed dramatically. I'm guessing not. A pity. It would have saved us all some trouble. Enough. Mord nodded toward the neural specialist. Prepare the extractor. The specialist stepped forward, holding a device that looked like a metallic crown bristling with fine, sharp needles. Grassuk winced. Neural extraction was notoriously brutal, often leaving permanent brain damage. Last chance to cooperate willingly, Mord warned. The human didn't look at Mord. His piercing blue eyes locked on Grassuk instead. You might want to step back, Officer Grassuk. This is about to get messy. There was something in that calm voice, something that triggered every survival instinct in Grassuk's body. Without thinking, he took a step backward. The specialist lowered the neural crown onto the human's head, adjusting it to fit his smaller skull. The needles hovered just millimeters from his skin. Commencing extraction in 3, 2. The human closed his eyes. And then, everything happened at once. The power flickered across the facility. Just for a second. But enough. Enough to reset the security systems. The restraints unlocked. And in that fraction of a second, the human moved. How he moved, Grassuk would never understand. One moment, the human was strapped to the chair. The next, he was standing. The neural crown now in his hand. The specialist collapsed to the floor, unconscious, or dead. Mord lunged for his weapon. Too slow. The human swung the neural crown like a weapon, driving the needle straight into Mord's facial tentacles. The captain shrieked, a piercing, high-pitched sound that rattled Grassuk's auditory ridges. The medical officer scrambled to flee, but the human was already on her. His hand locked around her throat. Her body became his shield. Grassuk fumbled for his own weapon, finally drawing it. "Don't," the human said softly. "Please." Grassuk's finger hovered over the trigger. "Let her go. You can't escape this facility." The human's fake pleasantness dropped. His face shifted, cold, sharp, and calculating. "I never intended to escape, Officer Grassuk. That's not why I'm here." "Then why?" Grassuk asked, his voice trembling, weapon still raised but hands suddenly uncertain. "Because your government has something that belongs to us. Something they stole." The human's grip tightened around the medic's throat, making her gasp. "And I'm here, to take it back." "You? Alone? Against an entire military prison?" A slow smile spread across the human's face. This time reaching his eyes. Those eyes turned predatory, alien. "Who said I was alone?" At that exact moment, every alarm in the facility blared to life. The human glanced up at the ceiling, as if looking straight through it, to something far beyond. "Right on time," he murmured. Then back to Grassuk. "I'm going to give you one chance, officer. More than your people gave mine. Drop your weapon. Help me find what I came for, and you get to live. Fight me, and you'll join Captain Mord on the floor." Grassuk should have fired. His duty demanded it. But something about the way the human looked at him, the certainty in those alien eyes, told him one terrifying truth. This human would not die easily. If at all. His weapon clattered to the floor. "Smart choice," the human said, "Jack Turner. Now. Take me to Section 0. And don't tell me you don't know what that is, because every guard here knows about the secret level below." Grassuk swallowed hard. What's in Section 0? Jack released the medic. She crumpled to the floor, gasping for breath. Then Jack stepped closer to Grassuk, somehow towering over him, despite being shorter. "The future of humanity," he said. "And the end of the Var Dominion, if your leaders don't give back what they stole." Above them, the echo of weapons fire and screams filtered through the ceiling. Whatever was happening up there, it wasn't good for the guards. Who are you really?" Grassuk stammered, fear creeping into his voice. Jack Turner casually bent down, scooped up Grassuk's fallen weapon, and inspected it like someone checking a familiar tool. "Just a prisoner," he said lightly. Then looked up, and now there was nothing light in his expression. The corridors were chaos. Alarms pulsed. Emergency lighting bathed everything in flickering red. Smoke choked the air. Screams echoed down the hall. Grassuk led the way, mind racing with worst-case scenarios. How many of you are there?" he asked over his shoulder, struggling to be heard over the noise. Jack moved beside him, checking the weapon settings as he jogged. "Enough," he replied cryptically. Ahead, a squad of guards rounded the corner, weapons raised. Grassuk instinctively dove against the wall. But Jack didn't even pause. 3 perfect shots. Precision stuns. Every guard dropped, alive, but unconscious. You didn't kill them, Grassuk said, surprised. Jack glanced back. His blue eyes briefly puzzled. Should I have? They're just doing their jobs. He gestured forward. Section 0. Which way? The elevator shaft. End of this corridor. But, it needs captain-level clearance. Jack patted Mord's stolen security badge. Got it covered. They reached the elevator, a heavily reinforced tube that officially went only to the bottom level of the prison. But Grassuk knew better. Everyone stationed here did. There was another level below. One that wasn't on any map. Jack pressed the badge to the scanner. The doors stayed shut. Biometric verification required, the computer announced. Jack sighed. Always a complication. He turned to Grassuk. Options? Before Grassuk could answer, his comm buzzed. He hesitated, then answered. Officer Grassuk. Report. Now. Lieutenant PRA's voice, panicked. Jack raised an eyebrow, silently signaling play along. Lieutenant. Thank the stars you're alive. Grassuk said quickly. The human escaped during interrogation. Captain Mord is dead, he's heading for the North Quadrant. The North? But that's, wait. Where are you now? South Quadrant. Section 8. Pursuing other intruders. They're everywhere, sir. Jack nodded approvingly. Hold position. I'm sending reinforcements, PRA ordered. No, sir. Too dangerous. Focus on securing the command center. I'll report when I can. Grassuk killed the comm before PRA could argue further. Not bad, Jack said, smirking. But we still need this door open. Grassuk hesitated, then sighed. He stepped to the panel. Computer. Security override. Protocol Epsilon 9. Officer Grassuk. ID 47291. Emergency evacuation. Section 0. Warning, the computer responded. Protocol Epsilon 9 requires secondary authorization. Captain Mord. ID 10478, Grassuk recited, the code he wasn't supposed to know but had memorized anyway. Voice print confirmed. Override accepted. Emergency protocol engaged. The elevator doors slid open. Jack gave Grassuk a sharp, impressed look. You're full of surprises. I've worked here 15 cycles, Grassuk muttered, stepping inside. You learn things. Also. I hated Mord. Sanctimonious tentacle printer. Jack's mouth twitched, just barely, like a suppressed laugh. Enemy of my enemy. Something like that. The elevator dropped. And dropped. And dropped, far deeper than Grassuk ever realized it could go. The temperature fell. The air grew cold. What exactly are we looking for? Grassuk asked. You don't know. Jack glanced at him. You seriously don't know what's down here? No one at my rank has clearance. Just rumors. Forbidden weapons. Experimental tech. Stuff the Dominion never wanted anyone to see. Jack nodded. Close enough. 6 months ago, the VAR raided a human research vessel. They stole something vital to humanity's future. What could possibly be that important? Jack's face turned grim. The cure for extinction. Before Grassuk could even process that, the elevator slowed. The doors opened. And revealed, nothing like the rest of the prison. Polished floors. Advanced technology. A sterile research lab. And bodies. At least a dozen VAR scientists, dead. Slumped over consoles, sprawled across the floor. Your friends have been busy, Grassuk muttered, stunned. Jack stepped forward, scanning the room. Not my team, he said. These people, they've been dead for hours. A chill ran down Grassuk's spine. Then, who? Freeze. Hands where I can see them. The command came from behind a console. A figure rose, a human. Female. Dark skin. Close-cropped hair. Weapon in hand. But not a VAR weapon anymore. Modified. Sleeker. Deadlier. Michaela, Jack said, lowering his weapon. Right on schedule. The woman, Michaela, kept her gun trained on Grassuk. Who's your friend? Officer Grassuk. He's helping. Since when do we trust the enemy? Michaela snapped. Since this one chose to help, rather than die, Jack replied evenly. Status? Michaela slowly lowered her weapon but didn't take her eyes off Grassuk. Teams 2 and 3 have secured the upper levels. Extraction teams on standby. But we've got a problem. She gestured toward a sealed door at the far side of the chamber. The package is in there. But the door needs a genetic key. The project leads. Let me guess, Jack sighed. The project lead is among our dead friends here. Bingo. Director Vex. I've tried bypassing it, but their encryption is solid. Grassuk blinked, stepping forward. Director Vex. Short tentacles. Orange markings on his carapace. Both humans snapped their heads toward him, suddenly very interested. You know him? Michaela asked quickly. Both humans turned sharply toward Grassuk, eyes sharp with sudden interest. You know him? Michaela asked quickly. He comes up to the regular prison sometimes, for special interrogations, Grassuk replied, his tentacles curling with distaste. Always acting superior. Always leaving with data crystals. His eyes scanned the sprawled bodies until he spotted the one he recognized. That's him. Right there. Jack walked over to the body Grassuk had indicated. We need his genetic signature. Any ideas? Michaela pulled a small device from her belt, a molecular scanner. If I can get a clean read on his genetic pattern, maybe I can spoof the lock. As Michaela worked, Jack turned to Grassuk. Tell me, why are you really helping us? You could have sounded the alarm. Fought back. Or just refused. Grassuk's facial tentacles curled tighter, a clear gesture of discomfort. Because, something's wrong here. The Dominion doesn't steal from other species. We conquer, yes. We subjugate. But theft? Especially of medical research? That's dishonorable. Honor matters to you? Jack asked, genuinely curious. I'm a prison guard. Not a monster, Grassuk snapped. And I've seen things, experiments on sentient beings. Prisoners disappearing after asking the wrong questions. The Dominion I signed up to serve wouldn't do this. Jack studied him, those piercing blue eyes searching deep. Sometimes, governments change. And the people don't realize it, until it's already too late. Got it. Michaela exclaimed. Isolated his genetic signature. Uploading it to the door now. A loud hiss echoed as the sealed door slowly swung open. Inside was a single pedestal. Upon it sat a small container, barely the size of Grassuk's fist. It glowed faintly with a soft blue light. That's it? Grassuk asked, blinking, half expecting something more dramatic. That's it, Jack confirmed, stepping forward carefully. 20 years of research. Billions in funding. And the hope of humanity, in one little box. What exactly is it? Grassuk asked. Jack gently lifted the container, cradling it with reverence. A synthesized retrovirus. It's designed to repair damaged genetic sequences. Humanity's been fighting a slow extinction, a degenerative condition that's been killing our reproductive capabilities. Each generation, fewer births. This is the cure. Before Grassuk could respond, Michaela's comm unit beeped. She listened briefly, then turned sharply to Jack. Extraction team reports, heavy resistance. We need to move. Now. Jack nodded, handing her the container. She clipped it into a protective harness across her chest. Get that to the ship. I'll be right behind you. What about him? She asked, nodding toward Grassuk. Jack glanced at the VAR officer. He comes with us. The Dominion will execute him for helping us. I can't leave, Grassuk protested. This is my home. Your home, Jack said bluntly, just became your death sentence. The moment you helped us, you signed your own execution order. But, we take care of our allies. A massive explosion suddenly shook the facility. Dust rained from the ceiling. That's our cue, Michaela said grimly. North extraction point. 5 minutes. Don't be late. She sprinted toward a different exit. Jack turned to Grassuk. Last chance. Come with me, or take your chances here. Another explosion, closer. Suddenly the AI's voice blared through the speakers. Warning. Self-destruct sequence initiated. All personnel evacuate immediately. 15 minutes to detonation. Jack's eyes widened. That wasn't us. A new voice echoed from the shadows. Isn't it obvious, human? A figure stepped into the light. A VAR, but unlike any Grassuk had ever seen. Taller. Iridescent scales. 6 eyes instead of 4. Tentacles that moved with eerie, mechanical precision. Grassuk's blood ran cold. Grand Executor Zultan, he whispered, the infamous head of Dominion intelligence, a figure seen only in official broadcasts and propaganda. Zultan's gaze locked onto Jack. The famous ghost. I expected someone more impressive. Sorry to disappoint, Jack replied, raising his weapon. Mind explaining why you're blowing up your own facility? Loose ends, Zultan answered calmly. The retrovirus project yielded all the data we needed. These scientists knew too much. The Dominion Council no longer finds their work convenient. Jack's eyes narrowed. Stealing medical research from other species doesn't sit well with your council anymore. Zultan's mouthparts clicked in what might have been laughter. Stealing? No. Confiscating. Dangerous bioweapons. Bioweapon? Grassuk blinked in confusion. He said it was a cure. Zultan tilted his head. A matter of perspective. One species' cure is another's extinction. Jack's fingers tightened on his weapon. That's a lie. The virus is species-specific. Perhaps the version your scientists developed, Zultan said smoothly. But we made improvements. He gestured around the room. Why stop at curing humans, when you could rewrite all life? A silent, elegant form of genocide. No armies. No weapons. Just biology, reshaped. That's insane, Grassuk gasped. The Dominion would never. The Dominion does what is necessary, Zultan interrupted coldly. As do the humans. As does every species. The only difference is who strikes first. Without warning, Jack fired. Zultan moved impossibly fast, dodging the blast. He drew his own weapon, sleek, custom, lethal. You think you are the only ones with advanced technology? Zultan sneered. We've been adapting human tech for decades. You're not as unique as you believe. Another explosion rocked the facility. Chunks of ceiling collapsed, forcing both Jack and Zultan to dive for cover. 13 minutes to detonation, the the AI chirped almost cheerfully. Grassuk scrambled, now separated from Jack by a fallen support beam. He couldn't see Zultan anywhere. "Jack," he shouted. "We need to go." "Not without making sure he's dead," Jack growled, scanning the rubble. "You're insane. This place is about to vaporize. If he's not dead from that, he will be soon." Jack hesitated. Then nodded. "Fine. Let's move." They sprinted toward the exit Michaela had used. The facility around them was coming apart, entire walls collapsing behind them. As they ran, Grassuk's mind raced. What if Zultan was telling the truth about the virus being adaptable to other species? He wasn't, Jack said firmly. Our scientists built genetic limiters. It only works on human DNA. But, your people are desperate. Desperate people make mistakes. Take risks. Jack stopped short, spun around, and faced Grassuk head-on. "You want to know why I was chosen for this mission?" His voice was low but shaking with intensity. "Because I lost everything. My wife. My daughter. My bloodline, gone. Erased by the plague. I would do anything to stop others from suffering that. Anything." He stepped even closer. "But not at the cost of becoming monsters. We are better than that. We have to be." Something in Jack's eyes, cold but burning with something deeply human, hit Grassuk harder than anything else. Slowly. Grassuk nodded. "Then let's get that cure home." They ran. Twice, Dominion soldiers crossed their path. Twice, Jack dropped them with non-lethal shots. 10 minutes to detonation. The extraction point should be just ahead, Jack pointed toward a narrow maintenance shaft. It leads outside the prison perimeter. The shaft was tight, claustrophobic. Grassuk's bulkier frame barely squeezed through. "Humans, and your tiny passageways," he grumbled. "Would it kill your engineers to consider other species?" Jack actually laughed. "Considering it's a prison designed to hold those other species? Not likely." "Fair point." They emerged into a drone maintenance bay. Beyond the open bay door lay the barren landscape of the moon. Hovering just beyond was a sleek human vessel, elegant, shining, unmistakably Earth-built. Michaela stood at the hatch, waving them forward. "Move it. We've got incoming." Jack sprinted. Grassuk lumbered close behind. Halfway across the open ground, energy blasts exploded around them. Always with the dramatic exits, Jack muttered, firing back without breaking stride. They hit the ramp. Michaela laid down suppressive fire as Jack shoved Grassuk aboard. Then Jack dove in after him. "Everyone accounted for," shouted a voice from the cockpit, a human male with a thick beard. "Package secured, Marcus." Michaela confirmed. "Get us out of here." The ship lurched, engines flaring. They blasted upward as Dominion fighters crested the horizon in pursuit. 5 minutes to detonation, the prison's AI announced, somehow still transmitting. "Cutting it close." Marcus shouted, banking hard. The G-forces crushed Grassuk into his seat. His vision tunneled, then blacked out, then returned. Suddenly, no motion. No sensation. Just stars streaking outside the window. "Dampeners engaged," the ship's AI reported. "Jump drive charging." Jack strapped himself in across from Grassuk. "First time on a human ship?" Grassuk nodded, dazed. "Yeah, the feeling passes." Behind them, through the rear viewport, a blinding flash erupted. A perfect sphere of white-hot destruction expanded where the prison had once stood. Did everyone make it out?" Grassuk asked, thinking of the guards, the staff, the innocents. Jack's expression softened. "My team evacuated as many non-combatants as we could. Your friend PRA made it out too." We're not monsters, remember? Relief surged through Grassuk, followed quickly by the crushing realization. He could never go back. What happens to me now? He asked. That depends, Jack said. We can drop you at any neutral port, or you could come with us. The Dominion has been lying to its citizens. Maybe it's time they heard the truth, from someone they might actually believe. A defector, Grassuk muttered. His tentacles curled in discomfort. A whistleblower, Jack corrected. Someone brave enough to do what's right. Jump drive charged. Translating in 3, 2, 1. The stars outside stretched into lines, then vanished completely. Grassuk felt an unexpected calm. His old life was gone. But what remained was choice. If I help you, he said slowly, what guarantee do I have that your people won't use that virus as a weapon? What if Zultan wasn't lying? No guarantees, Jack replied, brutally honest. Accept my word. And the fact that we're trusting you with our biggest secret. Mutually assured destruction, if either of us turns. Michaela stepped over, checking the container in its sealed stasis unit. It's stable. Our scientists can start mass production as soon as we reach Earth. Grassuk glanced at her. To save your species? And yours, Michaela replied quietly. Grassuk thought about it all. About the prison. About the lies. About a government willing to sacrifice anything for power. I need to contact someone, he said at last. Someone who can help spread the truth inside the Dominion. Jack smiled, this time, a real one that reached those strange, human eyes. Welcome aboard, Officer Grassuk. Just Grassuk now, he corrected. My officer days are behind me. Good, Jack said, extending a hand. Because where we're going, chains are the last thing you'll ever need. Grassuk reached out, wrapped his own hand around Jack's. The ship hurled through the void, carrying its unlikely crew toward a future where the line between prisoner and guard, between villain and hero, blurred beyond recognition. And Grassuk, former officer of the Dominion's most secure prison, found himself exactly where he never expected to be,